guys, welcome back to my channel. I am finally bringing to you my corrector video. I feel like I've been talking about this for months and I've really been meaning to film it for months, but I just obviously got around to it. I'm going to make this intro quick because it is a pretty lengthy video. I go over 5 different correctors in this video. I use the same exact concealer over every single one so that the wear time and the longevity and everything of the actual corrector is fair throughout all 5. I am using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which I think I do mention in a few things. Real quick, correctors, I'm only doing under eye correctors. For darkness, you need peaches or oranges. Not everyone needs a corrector. I cannot stress this enough. I think it's a big trend right now and everybody's seeing them being offered in like Sephora and Ulta and all this kind of stuff. Not everyone needs it. Unless you have serious darkness under your eyes, all you're doing is adding orange pigment to somewhere that doesn't need orange pigment. So a lot of people can get away with wearing a medium to full coverage concealer and be completely fine with it. So please, I cannot stress enough to be sure you are aware of if you really need a corrector. I do. I have very deep, sallow, dark circles under my eyes. So every day I wear a corrector, and that's why I wanted to bring this to you because, like I said, I am going to be reviewing 5 different correctors. Some are creams, some are liquids. I go over all of that. I'm going to link all the correctors I talk about down in the bottom bar if you want to go check them out, read the reviews and whatnot. And I also think I'm going to put timestamps down there as far as whatever corrector I'm talking about. You can jump right to that if you only care about one. And then at the very end, I'm going to tell you my favorites, my not so favorites, this and that. All right, I need to stop talking because this is, like I said, a lengthy video. I hope you enjoy it. So today we're going to do the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector in Orange. Up until, I don't know, a week ago, and maybe it still is. I'm going to make my final decision after I film all this correctors for this video, but this has been my favorite corrector of all time. It is only 0.14 ounces, and it's funny, I just looked it up. It now retails for $40. When I first bought it 2 years ago, it retailed for $38. Last year it was $39, now it's $40. So who knows, in a few years it'll probably be $45. I don't understand why companies do that, but alas. It comes in almost like a liquid liner tube like this, and it does have almost exactly like a liquid liner applicator, a very thin brush. Again, I have orange. It does come in pink as well for my more fair-skinned girls, and I believe comes in yellow now to correct dullness, and I've seen a green too. So I don't know if you can only get that in Nordstrom or what, but I do know they carry it. Okay, so I just take it directly from, let me zoom you in, my lovely trusty bags. Remember, this one is always worse than this one. And I take it directly on the applicator, and I take it just in the very corner where I'm my very darkest, like that. And then I just take the warmth of my finger, my ring finger, again, it's the only one I use under my eyes, and I just tap it in. You don't want to swipe because you're just going to take the product away, but just tap it in like that. So right now, again, I cannot stress enough, correctors do not take away bags, they take away darkness. Okay, so you're still seeing the shadows that are produced by the bags and puffiness under my eyes. However, that has concealed most of the darkness. So that's with both eyes done with the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector in Orange. Okay, so it's been 10.5 hours since I first applied the corrector, the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector in Orange, and this is what we have. I think this one is a little bit darker than it originally was. This inner corner always stays darker. So even like when I first applied the corrector and concealer, that was pretty much the same shadow than it was. It's kind of shown a little bit more darkness down here on the actual tear line. And this one I feel like popped up midday. As far as texture is concerned, I feel like it has gotten a little bit crepey throughout the day, a little bit more than with some of the other correctors. It's nothing that anybody from the outside would be able to see. You see my sunglass marks right there. But I can just tell that it's a little bit little bit crepier, especially on this eye, only because I have some thicker lines on this eye, which nobody likes to have, but it is what it is. So that is the end of a 10.5-hour day with the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector in orange. So today we're working with the Tarte Colored Clay CC Under Eye Corrector. I accidentally got the color medium tan. I probably should have gotten light medium, but I find this works probably just as well. It retails for $24 and it's 0.08 ounces or 2.26 grams. So just like with any cream product that I'm using under my eye, I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to zoom you in. So you see my darkness, and I'm just going to lightly tap it under my eye like this. I don't like to use a brush necessarily with cream products because the warmth of your skin helps melt it into the skin that you're applying it to, plus a brush just tugs too much, I find, under the eyes. So, okay, so this is with the corrector, this is without. Again, I've mentioned it before, bags cannot be corrected with an under eye corrector. Bags are just there. And so a lot of the shadow you're seeing is bags because my 4-year-old woke up really early this morning with the sun. So I didn't sleep well last night, but you can see looking straight ahead, the difference in this side and that side. All right, so this Tarte corrector has been on my face now for 13 hours. So I'm going to zoom in real quick. So this is what it looks like after 13 hours of wear with the NARS concealer on top. As you can see, it's showing a little bit of darkness right there. This eye looks a little bit better, but that's pretty par for the course with my under eyes. Overall, I think it held up really well. Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Urban Decay Naked Skin Corrector. This is in the color Peach, which unfortunately is the only peach/orange tone they have in the line, and it is super light. So if you have darker skin than me, really, some would argue that this is even too light for me, that you are not going to be able to use this, I don't think, for an effective color corrector. It is, let me see, $28, and it comes with 6.2 grams and 0.21 ounces. So I'm going to do like I always do. This is my lovely morning face, and we've gone over the darkness happening under my eyes. So it comes with the same doe foot applicator that the concealer comes with. That was my mirror, sorry. So I'm just going to apply it directly into this inner corner that has the most darkness, like I do all the rest of them. And then I'm just going to use my finger. If you haven't noticed, using my finger is the preferred method for me to tap out my corrector. Again, the warmth of it just really helps. Okay, so that right there is the difference. I think this is the least effective corrector that I own. It brightens a tad, but it doesn't really correct the darkness. I don't know. I honestly can't speak to it if it's because of the actual formula or if it's because of the color. I feel like if it were not so peach and actually orange, then it would correct my dark circles better. But that's with 2 layers right there. And I hope this lighting makes my dark circles look 20 times better anyways, which some of you might be like, better? Ooh. But it really does. So that's the only difference. I don't think it's a huge one, but let me put my concealer on real quick. Okay, so this is with the NARS concealer over it. And I did have to put 2 coats of the NARS. I don't normally have to do that with my other correctors. So if that tells you anything. So I'll check back in later and let you know how it wore throughout the day. Okay, so I've had this makeup on for 13 hours now, roughly. And I'm going to zoom you in and show you. It doesn't look much different than it did with whatever corrector I was reviewing yesterday. But as always, this eye is always worse than this eye. But it has faded significantly. More so, I feel like, on this eye. And when you look up real close, I don't know if the camera's going to portray it or not. But I feel like it looks a little bit cakey. And I think the reason that it looks that way is because I felt like I needed to put more product on because it just wasn't correcting the darkness the way I wanted it to because of the undertone of the actual product. So I think I felt like I needed to put more on, which in turn obviously turns to cake and makes your under eyes or wherever you're putting the product look older. And that is the one place on our face we don't want to look older. It shows the age the fastest. So so far, this is my least favorite of the ones that I'm talking about. I will go over everything at the end when I do my final review, but it just did not hold up throughout the day. And I want to say that this darkness started peeking through around like hour 6, which on the days that I wear makeup, which are most days, I never wear it for just 6 hours. So far, it's just not really cutting it for me. It hasn't since I've first started using it. I'm about halfway done, and I really don't even know if I'm going to finish the whole product. But again, this is what it looks like, the Urban Decay Naked Skin Corrector in Peach after 13 hours of wear. All right, the corrector we are using today is the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum Corrector. This is in the color Melon. This is the cheapest of all the correctors I'm going to talk about. It comes in at $14 for 0.13 ounces. So a lot of people complain about the applicator of these and the concealers. It's a doe foot, but it's really the product only comes out on the very tip. So let's start over here and it's meant to be just dotted on, and that's why the product only comes out on the tip. I don't really know why. This is the one I use in my kit the most. It is very gel-like. It does have a consistency close to gel. However, I have noticed lately in my kit, and that's why I'm transitioning over, that it cakes up and almost gives a drying effect. It doesn't feel dry. Like I said, it does have that gel consistency, but it almost gives that effect. And if you can tell, it's not that high of a coverage. I don't ever use the applicator in my kit. I always put it on my hand and then use a brush. But I'm not all too impressed with the coverage that gave. Let's do the other one real quick, since you've already seen the... It is quite annoying how many times you have to put it back in the container because of that applicator. It does feel a little bit thicker because of the, I guess, the gel consistency. Okay, but that's the other one. I don't know, I just don't feel like it's the best in coverage, but we'll see what it looks like once my concealer gets on. Okay, so I've had this on for probably only about 8 hours now because I did get a little bit of a late start this morning. And I'll have to say that from far away, like, I'm pretty satisfied with the staying power of this corrector. And you're probably not going to see it now. I mean, this eye, I don't even know. But when I really look up close, I feel like it looks kind of cakey, like a little bit cakier. Not necessarily cakey, but I feel like it maybe emphasizes my lines a little bit more than some of the other ones that I've tried, especially on this eye. Of course, I've noticed these lines become more emphasized anyways lately, so maybe it's just that. But I feel like compared to the other ones, it kind of sinks in a little bit more and emphasizes it a little bit more. Overall, I'm, happy with it, especially for it only being $14, but it does sink in and emphasize. That is a con that I can say about this corrector. But it's pretty on par with the rest as far as staying power and actual corrective qualities. So today we are going to be working with the Cinema Secrets Ultimate Corrector. I have the color light blue Neutralizer. It does come in 8 different colors, but this is the peachy/orange color for lighter to medium skin tones. Now, this is $16 and it has 0.25 ounces. $16 I find is very reasonable. And if you are a makeup artist, you can get Cinema Secrets at a pro discount other than Sephora, but in other pro stores and stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take a little bit on my beauty spatula and I'm going to put it on the back of my hand because I want to warm this product up. as it is a cream and it's a little bit stiffer than the Tarte corrector that I used, which is the only other cream I've used in this video. So I'm warming it up on my finger and I'm just going to tap it out under my eyes. And you can see how incredibly brightening this corrector is. It is the most brightening that I have tried in this video while also correcting the darkness. You need very little. I scooped out way too much on my spatula. I'll show you in just a second how much I have left on my hand. So I still have that much product left on my hand, which is quite a lot of product. That just shows you how little you actually need to get this brightening effect. I do find that it takes a little bit more effort and time to actually evenly blend out to where you're not getting any patchiness or anything, but it can be worth it if it stays this bright and doesn't crease or cake up throughout the day. So I'll be right back with my concealer. So this is with concealer, and I will say that what I do notice with this corrector is that it's so brightening that a lot of times once you put the concealer and the setting powder on top of it, it's almost too bright. So if you have like a concealer that's a little bit dark for you, I would suggest using this corrector under it because it might neutralize it enough to where you can wear your darker concealers in the winter months and still get use out of them. Okay, so I've only had my makeup on for like 7 hours, which I know is the least amount of time of all of the correctors, but I just got a severely late start today. And I have to say that I've worn this corrector probably 3 other times before this video, and unfortunately, I feel like it cakes up so bad on my under eyes. Let me zoom you in. I honestly don't know if you're going to be able to see. But it's severely drying on my under eyes. And I think that that's what it is. I don't think it's so much cakiness as it is dry. It makes it look really dry, which in turn makes it look like it's more cakey than it really is. However, from far away, I feel like the brightness is the most brightening effect of any of the correctors that I've used. So I think the lasting power is amazing. I just don't like how cakey it gets under my eyes. It is still, like I said, the most brightening out of all the correctors, but I don't know. I've prepped differently. I've used different eye creams. I've used different primers. I've done a lot of different things with this corrector because, like I said, this is not the first time I've used it, and it still does that every single time. So I don't know. It's unfortunate because it is so brightening. But again, that's the way I feel about the Cinema Secrets Ultimate Corrector. I will say you get a ton of product in here and it would last you forever if it ends up working on your under eyes. Okay, I have finally finished my corrector video. I'm so excited to say because I've been working on this for 5 days in a row, trying out a different corrector every day. I'm going to be very, very, very quick on my recap and tell you my favorites and my least favorites. My 2 favorites probably matched in a tie for first place. One maybe ekes out a little bit higher, but is the Tarte CC Corrector and the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector. I feel like the Giorgio Armani was the most consistent as far as keeping the darkness at bay throughout the day the longest. The Tarte was, again, consistent at keeping the darkness at bay, and the consistency of the Tarte is very smoothing. I think it'd be really good for dry under eyes because it is very creamy and moisturizing. My least favorite is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Corrector. I just don't feel like it corrects enough. I feel like it's not brightening enough. I feel like they should really think about adding a darker orange / peach color into the line. It just did not cut it for me. It got cakey because I had to use more to try to actually correct the darkness. It just wasn't, it's not my thing. I've been using it quite a lot to try to get rid of it, and I feel like it's one of those never-ending products, and it probably feel like that because I just don't love it. But I don't even know if I'm going to finish the bottle because it's not, like, I don't have those days where my under eyes are better than other days, so it's not something I can use where I'm having a good under eye day because I just have dark under eyes every day. So I just don't even think I'm going to finish that one. The Kind of in the middles were the Cinema Secrets. Even though it does cake and make my under eyes look dry, I have to give it props for being the very most brightening corrector as well as correcting. I mean, it will make you look 15 times more awake than you looked beforehand and or actually feel, which I have to give extra credit for that. It just, on me, looks a little cakey and dry by the end of the day. I tried it with a couple different concealers and eye creams, but, you know, everybody's different. I know one of y'all commented on my Instagram saying you loved it. So I think for this $16 price tag, it's definitely worth giving a try, especially with Sephora's return policy. And the Sephora Gel Concealer Corrector coming in at the lowest price at $14. I don't know. I think it's not bad. It's not bad. Again, it did leave me feeling a little bit more cakey towards the end of the day, but the consistency is very gel-like. It is very soothing as you're putting it on. And, you know, like I said, we all have different under eyes, so you may actually enjoy it. So that's going to go kind of in my maybe you want to give it a try category, those two. The Urban Decay I cannot recommend, and the Giorgio Armani and the Tarte I can really recommend. So hopefully this series of corrector demos have helped you out in some way. If there are any other correctors you want me to try out, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a very blessed day.